Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to Wednesday's MCN. It's new content drop day. And of course, make sure to follow the channel. We're going to be covering lots of guides, information. I'm just going to be thrusting a lot of stuff at you. That sounds wrong, but in this video, we're going to go over a lot of things that are dropping in the community. Important information, interesting reveals things as well. We've got so much to go over. I'll try and be as concise and quick as possible with it. So let's do a bit of micro news coverage first off. So really getting into it, we covered in a full video yesterday the Alliance War season situation. Look, good news is we're seeing lots of buffs and improvements to this particular mode. Great. Bad news is at the moment, Cratchit we're working through Christmas when it comes to the season, starting on the 20th of December, which is the Banquet Event drop date as well. So we'll kind of we'll cover that whenever there's any changes, just to kind of put you in the kind of like the forefront for that. Also, in interesting other micro news, we've got a new app, kind of like just image, new icon image, which I think is really cool, and that's a bit of positive news for you to share, because we haven't had this update in such a while, and I really like it because it's Onslaught versus Apocalypse. Also in micro news, bit of incredibly good news is that players have gone above and beyond to give deaths to the kind of the scheme of things and the road to the crypt, meaning that it is more than likely, because we've seen such a ramp up. I didn't think it was very likely to begin with, but because we've had such a ramp up and people doing Necropolis, and do bear in mind a lot of free to play are having to do it in order to stay relevant within the scheme of relevancy with their accounts, it is more than likely now that you'll see it completed. So people are going above and beyond, which is great, and also to explore. Or if you're MSD, you've 100%ed it on both your free to play and your main account, which is incredible in its own right. I actually really like this response from Cat Murdoch, which is, "Congratulations, you did it. You're terrible. I feel so seen." It just made me laugh when I saw it, and I thought that was great. Now let's get into the more meatier stories of coverage. First of all, starting with the Necropolis 7-star class crystal. A lot of players were looking to cash in on the change of the basic pool and as well the Titan crystal pool. But people were finding yesterday that issues were arising with the particular acquisition of some of these champions that were meant to be expected in the pools. So what happened? Well, Steph D87 said, "Just over the 7-star crystal. I was hoping when Warlock joined the basic that he's the only one I didn't see in the real. I checked the basic crystal list to make sure he was in there. Are they not added to the class selector crystal?" The furthest update on this from Kabam Jax is that the team has pushed the update for the crystals live, so any crystals opened at 10:51 PT will have the correct pool. We'll be pulling information to gather every account that opened a 7-star class crystal between 10 and 10:50 AM, and sending a replacement crystal so summoners have a chance to chase the champs they were originally targeting. Timeline uncertain, but that's the plan. So by that means, I think people who opened their crystal from those selectors get to keep and then get themselves a new. So basically, compensation will be given out in some sort of shape or form. So there you go. That's happy days for a lot of people. Also, this is interesting. Photon isn't joining the base pool until April, for those curious. That's from Kabam Crashed on the Matter. And yeah, will the champ that was pulled from the bug class crystal be removed? It doesn't give an indication that it will be, so I want to say like there is. I mean, this is an answer from Kabam support that says, "Our policy is Kabam's only reverse actions taken on accounts when the item or resources can still be removed from the account. Because the 7-star tech crystal has been opened, we are unable to remove it and exchange any of the random rewards that were obtained from it, as this would circumvent the design of the game and is unfair to all other players who kept their rewards." Hang on, what? We are unable to remove it and exchange any of the random rewards. So I don't know if this support is not linking with Kabam Jack. So we don't know concurrently. There will be kind of like a crystal, but it doesn't say that the champion be taken away. I want to say that if there's a low amount of people affected by this, and it says, yeah, support isn't aware of the situation. So yeah, it's just like you have to wait until there's an answer from Kabam to kind of like say concretely what was happening. So yeah, Don't really know, but here's the thing. Kabam won't want to do any kind of like great amount of work. And unless it affects a small amount of people, which I don't think it overly did, especially because a lot of people were holding on to those Necropolis-based rewards for this particular reason. So we'll have to see, but compensation is on the way. Now let's move on to Deathless pieces. It's always interesting to note with this stuff. Look, the information for the Deathless Guillotine we covered on the channel on Monday, and where are people lying with how they feel about it. I've seen a lot of people that aren't too impressed by the abilities, and this is a problem where you will have to get all of the champions, or the Deathless Champions, to access a special quest to get the last special champion from the Deathless range, which is unfortunate because it's like you have to farm for the pieces. You have to get the Deathless pieces. So that's something to kind of like note. It's terrible to feel forced to get something, but sadly that's the case. However, when it came to the subject of the unit cost, it's still something that I think a lot of people are floating around, and the cost is going to be something that's going to be quite big. Now, based on the champion's worth, how much, put it in the comment section, how much units, or how many units would you say it is worth for a piece of Deathless Guillotine? For me personally, looking at this and the quality of the champion that's been pitched, it shouldn't be very much. However, this is Kabam, and Kabam has said it's going to be ridiculous. So therefore, they're going to whack on something. In my opinion, I feel it's going to be about 20,000 units per piece of Guillotine. Now, I hope I'm wrong with that, but this is Kabam at the end of the day. But definitely people are kind of like posing the question to Kabam on the subject, and it's warranted a response. So Kabam Mike says there's going to be expensive when it comes to unit costs. The catch-up is really meant to be the last resort, so if you want to get them without spending a metric ton of units, I really suggest trying to get into an alliance. Start harvesting your loyalty. I don't know how much you already have, so that might not be possible at this point either. So that's something we did cover, like an idea of like farming loyalty in a very short space of time. You know, that's it. I think the 6-star one should be a lot less. The 7-star, which I was referring to by the way, might be a lot more with that one. I mean, Kabam might goes you know, further on the subject. We keep hearing the word expensive. Can we get a price range? Imagine how much you think expensive, then double it. I don't have the exact number right now, but I am prepared for an angry mob on this one. Angry mob. That's not good. I mean, look, that's going to be from a 6, I would say 7-star rather than a 6-star, but yeah, at least gives you a bit of a flavour of things that's going to be in the future. Now let's move on to the Summoner's Choice Champion. Obviously they're talking about Gladiator. Now, it will be early next year that we'll hear what the contenders are for the Summoner's Choice. And what it will be, I don't know. We're going to do predictions. I was going to do a prediction in the last couple of days, but then I realized it's more of a January thing. So I will probably do a prediction towards the end of the year or starting next year. But many people have asked the same question when it comes to the quality of the champion with Gladiator. A lot of people have even asked for a buff for the champion as well. But I thought it was interesting to bring this thread to light because there's been some response on the subject of many people kind of questioning Kabam on the quality of the champion and the buff. And also the subject of the rebalance, which, let's face it, you know, you'd expect to... When did we get the champion? Was it September? We had a rebalance for it? I don't think we have yet. We may have, I don't know. But let's look at some response from Kabam on the subject of it. So, Jack said, observing the Summoner's Choice campaign was definitely an interesting process. I think it put on display a lot of community instincts. We did say repeatedly we do not vote for what you think is the most powerful because you inevitably the kits would vary, and the team was very upfront with not making another Hercules. We saw a lot of chatter along the lines of vote for Gladiator because cosmics are all broken, to which we again were very clear that we would not be in this case. Now, whether or not he's the most or least powerful, useful champ of the year, each of you decide. But I think we need to do away with thinking Summoner's Choice will be completely OP champions and vote Cosmics because we Hercules 2.0. You're noticing a trend trying to build the game in a way that doesn't yada yada yada. Yeah. So I mean, for me, it wasn't. I like the character of Gladiator, and that's one of the reasons I like. I mean, I didn't like Hercules. I wanted a Mega Sentinel, and funny enough, I use a Mega Sentinel 10 times as much than I use Hercules nowadays. I use Mega Sentinel in Alliance Wars. I use it in content, like all the time. It's a fantastic champion because it has a utility, and as well in the right kind of matchups is able to slap a lot of damage. My light keeps going out and it's really bugging me. That's battery packs are kind of failing me at the moment, so I need to switch the different type. Any case, right, more response from Kabam and Kabam Mike in particular, with some interesting kind of like takes, which I think is quite good, and kind of like ending this thread. Of course it gets closed down. Obviously Jax has a few responses. This was never a defense of Gladiator. I started my response by providing the context to which you're speaking. Yeah, for sure. It was tangible, which is why I prefaced, but not sure why you think that would mean it doesn't belong. I found it in place in this thread. I think we're agreement here at this point was tangible. Honestly, like, people on the forums are weird. They want to argue about arguing, and your type of argument is not relevant for this. Like, grow up, whatever. Yeah, the final say on this is by Kabam Mike, who says, alright, let's close this thread down. I'll be real clear here, Gladiator hasn't even had his balance pass yet, so that's a good point as well. And while the community sentiment is something I make sure to take to those meetings he was voted for, is not something we will take into account. We want players to love their Summoner's Choice champion, but that doesn't mean that they get any special attention above those any other champion releases who also have the same goal, have a place in the game and fun for players to use. If Gladiator is not hitting those marks, we'll take them into consideration during the balance pass. Okay, and that's the thing that I was questioning, like, you know, the balance pass hasn't passed, and we could see a better champion, quite possibly, or possibly not. Either way, look, Quicksilver, I use him occasionally, not as much as maybe I should do. Hercules, I probably use slightly more than Quicksilver. Gladiator, I haven't ranked him up to find a purpose just yet, so that could be a bit of a problem. But if a rebalance comes my way, or our way, well, we might have a very different discussion on our hands, mightn't we? And we're going to end with this. Somebody getting very irate with Kabam about the subject of, well, not entirely certain, but somebody not getting their particular champion might be the reason for it. And an interesting response from Kabam Mike when it comes to this. Like, this person, you know, people weren't holding back as well from this one. And it's hard to know because it's been taken away, because their profanity removed. So I don't know what's going on here with this one, but yeah, this is interesting. Of like people saying like, why did Kabam tell us, where did Kabam hurt you in a Gladiator? That's relevant. That's relevant. In his wallet, probably skill issue. And yeah, okay. What's worse than being banned? Having your 6-star ascended 565 Sig Hercules. Oh, you're one of those. Okay. Removed from your account with nobody willing to give it back to you. But you won't have to worry about that until you get back in 30 days. From that ban, you also got missing the holiday events, Banquet, anniversary festivities. Have a nice day. Oh, that is cold. That is so cold. It's so cold. And this is like, there's sometimes where I kind of like, I love Mike, and then I go through these times where I'm just like, nah, that just ain't it. And it's one of these kind of like situations of going like, damn, man. So I don't know like what the situation for this. Like, I'm just coming into it because I just like was reading this. From what I gather from like a response from somebody else a bit higher up here. So King Skeletor says, you really have a lot of time to write free time writing, whatever this is on the forums. This being said, either learn how to play the game or don't. There are of course bugs and issues like this in every game, but you cannot disrespect the devs. They're doing the best they can. They are being humans, which for some reason I doubt, and me spread your hate elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the context of this, but whatever it was and whatever was said, like, it was just, yeah, it got obviously the response that it did from Mike on that particular subject. Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously they went at the dev team, so it may be a case that this person was banned or not banned. We will have to see. But yeah, it's funny. I thought I'd share it. I don't know if they were just doing it. I don't know if Kabam Mike was just doing it just to kind of like, you know, scare them a little bit. Maybe yes, maybe no. Don't know. We'll never kind of like find out. And I just wanted to end you with that one. Bit funny. What are your thoughts on it? Will they actually kind of like go through with a ban? And obviously, thanks for watching. Big day today. Lots of things to cover with the new events going live. Check out some other content located on screen. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.